About a week ago, Twitch was sued for $25 million by a man named Eric Estavio. I do hope I pronounced his last name right. And I'm here to go over his lawsuit. Now, before we do that, we need to get to know the man, the myth, the legend, Eric. Now, Eric is an interesting person who has had a past of filing similar bizarre lawsuits, similar to the current Twitch one, so you know this isn't his first rodeo. In November of 2009, he attempted to sue Blizzard for $1 million. The reason why he did this was because apparently one of the main reasons did this was because he was pissed at how there was a $14.99 subscription fee, as well as the speed at which the characters walk. This guy sued Blizzard for 1 million over the walking speed of the characters in an absolute Chad move. So, you know, we're already off to a great start regarding Eric. A real Boehner, you know? Around the same time as his Blizzard lawsuit, some more lawsuits that he filed were against Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and Blizzard again. And this time, the main reason was why he followed those lawsuits was because, and I quote, "What I wanted to do was to exploit the weakness of each console and show that they are not impervious to flaws. Each console has a flaw and they should fix it." This dude launched 4 separate lawsuits just because he wasn't happy about how each console had their shortcomings. The bizarre thing about those lawsuits were the fact that he was talking about how he had to rely on online gaming for socialization and he had no friends, which to me doesn't make any sense on how having no friends would tie into console shortcomings. Unless he was like talking about online play, which makes it seem he has like problems with his game connection. The in-game connection is usually based off Wi-Fi and server and is usually not hardware related. So I don't really know what he's going on about console problems if he's talking about like his game connections. After the dust settled on his lawsuits, he promised that he wouldn't do another lawsuit, which as we can already see, he did not hold up to that promise. While his past lawsuits are interesting and provide a bit of important backstory regarding Eric, they're not the main point of the video, so I will transition to the lawsuit that he is most well known for at the moment, his $25 million lawsuit against Twitch. Since the details of his lawsuit are public info, let's take a look at some of his arguments. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not going to read out everything I show word for word. I'm going to paraphrase a bit. And if you want, you can pause the video to look at the transcripts and get everything word for word. First off, in the beginning parts of his lawsuit, he describes himself as a Twitch Prime and Turbo subscriber who has depression, OCD, panic disorder, agoraphobia, and Crohn's disease. So this gives us some more insight into Eric and who he is. He then proceeds to talk about being online for entertainment, which is, you know, fair enough. It's quarantine. This takes a turn when he starts mentioning how, since he has OCD, he suffers from sex addiction, and how Twitch has only made this worse due to Twitch promoting them sexually suggestive women, and only that. Now, I don't know what Twitch streamers he follows, but you know, when I get on Twitch occasionally, I'm usually like promoting a wide variety of people. Like, I get some guys and some girls. Eric then proceeds to show off the girls while they are streaming to make his point. Like, this guy shows off his goddamn spank bank to some poor lawyer for a court of law. However, some of the images he uses are not from the Twitch platform. It's pretty obvious that they're just posing for models, which they probably post on like Twitter and Instagram. So I don't know what he wants Twitch to do about those, since it's like that part's like not Twitch's problem and therefore out of their responsibility. Skipping ahead a bit, we can see in the opening part of this statement that Eric is very obsessed with sex, and he simply can't get enough of it. We can also see his Twitch username, which is the real Eric Gustavio, but that pales in comparison to the statement next to it. Apparently, he follows 786 female streamers and 0 male streamers. Like, I am surprised because that is like really fucking dedicated and kind of like strangely impressive, like the sheer number of females that he's followed compared to men. Considering like the only like a real like possible way you could have done that was that if you like ignored and avoided like any male streamers. But the thing is, I don't get is why he's suing Twitch for showing him sexually suggestive females while he's only like seeking out like female oriented streamers because he's very clearly not following any guys. Here's where things start to take a turn. He starts to talk about how he bought a fleshlight and used it while watching female streamers. This dude admitted in court documents that he was dead ass jerking a ween to these fucking female streamers. Like, and the way he describes this fleshlight, like, the man bought the good shit. He fucking shelled out his wallet for that deluxe ass fleshlight. Like, the works, like, you got it, like, vibrating, stuff like that. For real, though, the fact that you can't stop jerking it to female streamers until your penis rots and you have to use medicine on it kind of sounds like a you problem and not Twitch's. Eric then talks about how he can't stop staring at breasts and how it has impacted his life with his parents and people because of how bloodshot their eyes are, which creates awkward conversations between them. Again, I kind of feel like it's not Twitch's problem that he can't stop staring at breasts. The last part of this section is him describing how he nutted on his monitor, which caused it to short circuit and start a fire in his apartment. This is a part where I feel like started to suspect that his lawsuit may simply be nothing and like an attention grab because the only like plausible way I could even see like something like this occurring is if he stripped the outer casing of the PC and nutted like directly into the wires, and even then that would be like unlikely because they're insulated, or he just outright like came into like the outlet, like wall outlet. But even then, I don't feel like that's enough to cause a fire that would go all over your apartment. This lawsuit is then wrapped up by him talking about his terms and conditions, which is the banning of every female that he mentioned in lawsuit / people who violate Twitch's TOS on sexual content, and of course the $25 million which he plans to split between other Twitch subs and various charities. Somehow I have the faint feeling that Twitch will not agree to any of these terms. I do wish him the best of luck in his lawsuit though, even though Twitch probably won't get anything of his approved, and it'll likely end in failure for him. But to sum up, I kind of feel like Eric's lawsuit is kind of a extremely desperate ploy for attention, due to how he mentions that he only goes outside for essentials in the beginning of his lawsuit, and he talks about how he has in-depth interactions with people that result in them asking about his bloodshot eyes. Not to mention the fact that he also said he caused a fire in his apartment by nutting on his PC. And also the fact that he talks about previously in his older lawsuits being extremely lonely and having no friends, which is why I believe that this is a ploy for attention. That's all I have to say on Eric's lawsuit. See ya.